This ain't one of them times you could slide by what you say that you gonna do. Put your money up, run that fade, time to show and prove. You know the vibes, partner. Ain't got no wins up in my casa. Clowning the day, gone in la mañana. I've been on fire lately. Train my spirit, mind, and body daily. Victory is sweet, that's the science, baby. It's only right we represent from Tampa to Tally. And keep the pressure on these ops, they cardio lacking. Till you flapping on the canvas and bobbing and weaving. Unleashing the fury on your face while the audience screaming. Hope they got great seats or the pay-per-view. Let's get the breakdown from J, DJ, and Q. You know the vibes. Yeah. You know the vibes. You know the vibes.
All right, what up, good people? Coming to you live from Boxing Vibe TV. I'm Q. We got JD. We got Jay on the ones and twos, man. If we got a question. We want to know how do y'all feel? Errol Spence voices disdain for American fans rooting for other nations. When fights coming up, you got people that they root for the UK fighter instead of the American fighter. They might root for, a Mexican fighter instead of an American fighter. And he spoke on how he wasn't feeling that. So JD, what you got? What you say about that, bro? How you feel?
I'm gonna take it. It's
my bad.
It's you good. It's a double-edged sword, right? So if you look at the World Cup, you know what I'm saying. That's where you're supposed to be rooting for your nation. You know what I'm saying. That's kind of like if you from the U.S. you're supposed to be rooting for the U.S. But if you look at it, even then, the U.S. team will have a German coach, or even with World Basketball, they'll take some NBA coaches. So really, the world's connected in a different way. But I can understand where he's coming from. But with boxing, is different because you can have such a talent, such a personality that supersedes any identity with, your nationality or area you grew up in. Like, and you can do that on so many different levels. So if you look at it like when Tarver fought Roy Jones, Roy Jones is from Pensacola. You know what I'm saying? Tarver's closer from my area where I'm from, but I rooted for Roy Jones. And so if you want to start building on that, you look at a fighter who's from another state, and that's your home state. And then you can build off on that. You look at a fighter like Muhammad Ali, who became a global icon. So I don't think you can really necessarily get mad at people for recognizing greatness and then that fighter being good enough or having enough personality to help people gravitate towards that fighter. I think Manny Pacquiao's done it. I think Ali's done it. Sugar Ray Leonard. There's a lot of fighters who garner this worldwide love and just honor. And Mike Tyson's done it just by their persona and what they've done in the ring, and they become bigger than a flag, bigger than where you're from. They supersede any boundaries of borders or whatever. So
no doubt,
you get it, and I think he's more so. I think what he truly meant was, when it's not a iconic fighter, when it's somebody who relatively at the same level, but you root for a guy from another country for some reason. But in a sense, somebody could say on the same side, on the other side, it's the same thing. You gravitate towards a certain fighter for whatever reason. So that's my take.
That's what it is, man.
Yeah, I sort of. I agree with a lot of points that Jay just made. I think Spence, especially, I feel like he's coming from, especially in our society today, as a black fighter, and I think he's looking at it from a racial component, as far as watching other people root for other nations against black fighters, and even black people rooting for other people, and what I really think the underlying thing that Spence was talking about, even though when he made the comment, he was referencing Wilder versus Fury, but you see a lot of it, and it kind of takes me back to what Jay highlighted as far as when you're talking about Pacquiao and Floyd for years. And kind of like what Jay said, Pacquiao, even when you really look at him, for a lot of people who looked at things fairly and you take into account outside the ring, it was bigger than race. Like, you liked everything about Pacquiao. You liked, you liked this whole persona. And that kind of played a lot into, you know, a lot of people rooting for Pacquiao as opposed to Mayweather, where you will have certain people who are like, you know, Pacquiao's a Filipino. Why are y'all rooting for the Filipino man against the black fighter in Mayweather? You know, you have a lot of people make that case. And I think Spence and a lot of those fighters in that PBC camp, that's kind of how they feel. Now, the other element, going back to the Wilder and Fury part of it, is I also think that boxing is different in that, you know, it's not like football, where, you know, we're in Florida. So, you know, even, you know, if you're a fan of a major team, you kind of might show a little love to the Dolphins, the Bucks, or the Jags in some way, just by virtue of being in Florida. Most people might. Even if you're a fan of like one of the major flagship teams, like we know Jay a Cowboy fan, you know what I mean? But he showed the Bucks a little bit of love. But at the end of the day, boxing is different. And boxing is different in that the one thing I will say, though, for me personally, as a fan, I think Spence forgot also the betting aspect. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a Wilder fan all day long. But if I had put major money on Fury, I don't give a damn, bro. I'm going for Fury. I don't care. It ain't got nothing to do with no goddamn race. I put my $100 on Fury. I'm rooting for that man straight up. And so I think there's also the betting element that I think that Spence kind of misses in that too when it comes to boxing, because naturally whoever you bet on, that's who you're rooting for. But I kind of see his sentiment, but I think there's a couple of different layers to it though, man. But what you think about it, Q?
I mean, both of y'all hit the point. So you summed it up real nice on the fighter itself, and sometimes it transcends all boundaries from race to nation or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And like we talked about the Pacquiao Floyd situation, when, you know, Pacquiao like one of my favorite fighters, man. I look at Pacquiao almost on a Muhammad Ali level. You know what I'm saying? As a global icon. So, and you know, just him as a person or whatever, and what he brings in the ring. You know, I like his, you know, it's more fan friendly to the style I like to see. Mm-hmm. So, and also I agree with what you just said, because I ain't way about you know, we talked about this before with the black fighters, the African American fighters in America, not getting enough love, and you know, back to when we was in for Wilder Fury, mm-hmm. and it was crazy. We was in the UK. It was crazy. I mean, it was more. I thought I was in the UK at times, man. We dropped the bomb squad and everybody go to booing. I'm like, man, we're in America, man. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? But you know, people like who they like for whatever reason, you know, and it is what it is. It don't really bother me that much. I just, you know, but I do feel Spence. I feel where he's coming from, and back to Jay point. If it was the Olympics, if it was an Olympic boxing match, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you say soccer. If it was an Olympic boxing match where you really, it's your nation on the line, you know, your nation's pride or whatever. I mean, that's different. But you know, just on a day-to-day, just regular boxing match or whatever, it's not like the Olympics or anything like that. You know, like soccer, it ain't the World Cup, it ain't nothing like that. So, that's where I'm at with it, man. I ain't gonna lose a lot of sleep over it, man. I love boxing, and you know, I'm gonna watch whoever I like, you know. Yeah. But you know, we can be a little stronger without you know, American fighters, and especially, you know, our African American fighters that be dominant a lot of times and don't get the praise they deserve.
I'll say this, and it's the only thing I want to say on other than my first statement. I remember we were all in Vegas and people were shocked that I had a Pacquiao shirt on. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I got room for Pacquiao. And I'm like, it's a sport. I was like, I don't root for the Cowboys because they got the most black people on the team. I like the Cowboys. I like the brand. You know what I'm saying? I like the whole thing, the whole franchise of the Cowboys, just because they were part of my youth. Now, given the social thing, injustice going on today, somebody might want to recalibrate that. But just as a fan standpoint, I didn't look at it like that. And one of the things I think we talked around is like money. You talked about betting, JD, but when it comes to fans showing up, I think that's the support and love that Spence is really getting at, because he's better. You'll see a lot of times the African American fighter be, have a better record, better skill set, just be the favorite, but still have a 50-50 split, or not get as much on a standalone basis when he's the A side as somebody of another race that may have done less, may have not earned the clout that he got, but makes more money. So I think when you mentioned you thought you were in the UK and Vegas, why weren't Wilder fans turning out like that? So I think that's one of the things he meant too, because support means money.
Yeah.
So
And I think last thing I say, and I think it's also on our American fighters to do a better job of promotion and being involved here in America, because the other part of it too is when you look at other countries, when you're talking about Mexico, when you're talking about the Philippines, when you're talking about Cuba, when these fighters come over here and they're fighting, they're coming out of the mud. There is no football, there is no other sports, major sports, for them to prop up their nation, especially from a financial aspect. So naturally, all of those people, if you've coming from Mexico, they all gonna go for Canelo, because Canelo is the man bringing back so much resources to them. When you look at Manny Pacquiao, same thing. I could understand, you from the Philippines, that's your hero. This man is coming back bringing all these resources. Same thing with Cuban fighters. And I think in America, it's so different, such a different dynamic with us here in America when you talk about the sport of boxing, because we have so many other sports to choose from, and boxing isn't the dominant sport. That, I think a lot of our American fighters, if they really want to see that support from Americans, you got to get out and really start to just touch the people more and kind of expose yourself to them, help them get to know you more, and kind of just more self-promotion in America. And I think that'll kind of up some more of the American support that they kind of seek.
And to piggyback off that, in major team sports, you can hide behind your team's logo. You can have no personality. You can be a Kawhi Leonard and still be a big star.
Right.
You can't be a Kawhi Leonard in boxing and expect to be a big star. That's just
all right. All right, tenfold. But I think we summed that up pretty good, man. Hey, everybody rock with us, man. Select the subscribe button, smash the like button, and rock with us, man. We're gonna move on.
All right.
Peace to everybody. All right.